Alright, so this is card for card what we played yesterday. I've still got the 30th land as a memorial to Folly over the 4th Thought Erasure. We're on the 4 Unmoored Egos that we ended up going up to in the board to give us a fighting chance against Nexus. So let's go ahead and jump on into some matches and see how this goes. Joshua the Betrayed, 15 months. Thank you for the continued support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. There is not a foil Grazer. It's very sad. Very, very sad. Listen. If I can't keep a one-lander on the draw, why am I even playing 30 lands? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, chat. If I can't keep a one-lander on the draw, why are we even playing 30 lands? Don't you judge me. I can feel you judging me, chat. All right, any land off the top here, please. Thanks for keeping me motivated in this interesting standard meta. Thanks for the 13 months, Just Lucky. Like I've said, I actually don't think the standard format is bad. I think it's like pretty reasonable by most metrics. I think a lot of people are just kind of spent on it, which is understandable. I think I'm supposed to take Temple here. No, because Scrying doesn't do anything because they're going to hit me anyways. I led on Rejuvenator rather than Risen Reef because I wanted the best chance to play a 5-drop next turn. I'm going to play this because it gives me a small chance to play Thought Erasure this turn. If I had tapped differently there. I don't know. I had more black than blue sources in my deck at that point. So I felt like I should tap this instead of this. Getting the Reef down lets me Cavalier for an extra trigger next turn too, which is nice. I think I want an extra black source here. Field of Ruin. This can't play land, so I might as well leave Field of Ruin there. So there's a good chance they have a removal spell for this Cavalier. They've taken a couple of hits from my deck. I don't think we've seen a trophy yet. If they don't have a removal spell for this Cavalier, they are super dead. I think there's a good chance that they do, especially with this Azcanta going. Wow, just a Cavalier of their own. That is incredibly good for us. This fills their bin for their Azcanta, though. And drawing this Field of Ruin isn't even a bad thing here because they have a search for Azcanta. So if I play this first, I get an extra zombie, but if I play it second, I get to Thought Erasure, which I think is better. I think being down a zombie and casting Thought Erasure this turn is ideal. Oh, is that even true? Did I need to do that? No, I'm dumb. I'm dumb, right? That's not true. Yeah, I have one more land than I thought. Trophy is a great draw. So, do I Thought Erasure now? Or do I just want a trophy? I think I just want a trophy now. I really don't want to get hit by this thief anymore. Kill while they're tapped out. Maybe, I don't know. The odds of them having a counter spell and a removal spell for Cavalier is pretty low. Sure. Might as well reveal it because it's a free roll. Pay 1 black, get rid of my 3/2/2s. Another reason to wait on the trophy is I think they're more likely to have a removal spell than they are to have a counter spell. So, like, if they have a removal spell, they'll play it on this, and then I can trophy this and effectively make the removal spell, like, not worthwhile. Next turn, we can Thought Erasure this Legion's End, and then also double Rejuvenator, which is great. This is the last basic in my deck because I milled my island. I have 8 still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm actually going to decline because that could make zombies for me later, which is nice. I think Vraska Golgari Queen is worse than Tamiyo. And I don't even have room for more Tamiyos. Wow, they do have negates. Okay. That is such a supreme amount of punish. Magic's such a tilting game sometimes. So, we'll Rejuvenator before we play the land, so we get 2 shots at Field of the Dead here. I mean, we'll rebuild here. It's just annoying. No, I have no idea which list you're referring to, Reptar. Hydroid Crisis seems really bad in this archetype, though. Yeah. Like, in addition to being, like, bad against Narset, like, I often risk decking out. Memorial's a sweet hit here. Pretty sure there's a Cavalier in my bin, right? There is not, but there's a Risen Reef. Oh, that's a good suggestion. I should have looked to see if there was a Nexus still in my deck. Huh. Am I in for this Arboreal Grazer as just an extra flying blocker? I think I am. So, if I swing first, they get to block with their Cavalier and then put their choice of card back on top of their deck, chat. Because Yarok has Death Touch. Which I think is not ideal. You should be holding a land for post Legion's End? Nah, I don't think so. It'll be okay. That's pretty unfortunate. They've drawn really well this game. Yeah, it's my Cavalier, but it's their trigger. Yeah, no joke about the Grazer. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So Memorial plus Pickup Reef is effectively a 7 mana play. So I could Memorial, Reef, play Yarok. And then they Legions end my tokens, but then I've still like done a bunch of stuff, so that seems fine. I think that's going to be my play here. So if I play this, it triggers twice. If I play this, it triggers twice, then this triggers 4 times. So that seems ideal. I'm going to leave one of these lands in my hand in case they Legions end me next turn, because these triggers should give me more than enough tokens. And like, if they have to Legions end... If they have to Legions end my zombies and they're not Legions ending my Arboreal Grazer. Speaking of Grazer, I should have left a green mana untapped so I could play another Grazer if I drew it. Yeah, that was a mistake. I guess it's not... Nah, it's not actually a mistake, because if they're going to kill this, it's going to be Legion's End, right? Yeah, that is a worry that this could be our Nexus of Fate. I should have looked through my deck earlier to determine what that was. Can you just, like, draw a brick for the turn, please? If they draw a brick, like, it's so good because it lets them. This lets them opt on our turn and potentially trigger Kefnet on our next turn too. There's just been mono gas. And, like, it's been mono gas and we're, like, still in this game, which is nice. In fact, if Nexus is still in our deck and it doesn't get taken out this turn, we're actually very likely to win. Because, like, next turn, this is drawing 6 cards. Yeah, I'm a little surprised they didn't say save up for our turn as well. Maybe they're just, like, digging for removals so they can Legion's End these, clear this, and hit me with Thief. I could see that. Deal. Alright, and they want me to kill this Cavalier, so we're not doing that. Whoa! They drew a card for the turn and didn't trigger Kefnet. I'm so confused. I didn't even know that was an option. They're gonna kill Grazer here. Yep. Red Rover, let the flying dorks come over. There's 15 cards in our deck. And we're gonna draw 7 of them next turn. And they're taking 3 here. So if they hit our Nexus, we might lose. If they don't take our Nexus, we're likely to win next turn if they don't take our Nexus. That's not our Nexus of Fate. Sweet. So if we hit Nexus, we have 12 cards and we're drawing 7 of them next turn. Yeah, this is an extra look, right? And you did. All right, let's hold full control mode here. So these happen. I want to turn on full control mode because I want to respond to my own trigger here. So before this next Risen Reef trigger resolves, I want to take a turn so that way Nexus is in my deck so I have a chance to redraw it here off the rest of these triggers. Nexus is basically this deck's version of, what's it called? It's this deck's version of 3 mana Teferi. It's a card that you can play that lets you combo right away. So I want Trophy, I want Shifting Ceratops. I don't think I want all the Grazers, but I think I want like 2 of them. Because outside of blocking Thief, they kind of suck, right? I think I want some Disfigures, but maybe not all of them. I want all my utility lands. no worries, Z. Been there, done that. think I'm going to trim Rejuvenator here. I'm going to leave a couple Grazer, a couple Disfigure to try and answer Thief. We have Thought Erasure as well. I want to bring in Ceratops here because my opponent likely has Unmoored Ego post-board. You know, that's a good point about Figure countering Legion's End 2. Maybe I want all three of them. I'm going to go 3-1. That's a good suggestion. Apparently, this is a 12-month anniversary. Happy 1 year, sweetie. Thank you for the entire year of support, Trusty. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. So, this hand's actually pretty okay in this matchup, but maybe not for the reason that you're thinking. Having Field of the Dead in your opener against an opponent who's going to be Unmoored Egoing you, most likely, it's very good. Because once we get these into play, they can't Unmoored Ego them. So, it's going to be a hot second till we trigger them. So, like, if they have a fast Thief here, they might run us down. But if they don't have, like, Thief into Kefnet here, getting both fields into play before they can Ego us is very, very good. Bottoming any non-black source here. I think if we don't draw away to Thought Erasure next turn, we'll probably go like Breeding Pool into Tamiyo plus for Risen Reef. The opponent like needs a fast Kefnet in this matchup.
Let us have a storied battle worth retelling.
You get Contempted here. Yeah, the fact that they're playing Contempt might be a reason to just play the Jungle Hollow Tap there, honestly. Because this is not guaranteed to do anything, so if this doesn't draw a card, we just get 1-for-1. Good golly, I almost named Cavalier, too. I guess I hit the third green. Maybe I should have named Cavalier. Hindsight 2020 and all that. Cavalier. Tamiyo puts other things in the bin for Cavalier, which makes naming it appealing. Will he even negate it against me? I'd say that would kind of surprise me. Yep. Alright, I want to take the threat. I already have a... So I'm going to bottom this because I already have a Temple of Mystery, or Bennett. Because I only have 6 lands right now, and because I have 2 fields, I need 8 lands before these start triggering. That's vomit-inducing. Wow, they're not just taking my trophies. That's interesting. I want my Kefnet to do more than just be a 4/5 flyer. This card would be a lot better if it wasn't just a 4/5 flyer. Well, that's just gonna die, so let's just do this now, I guess. Like, if they want to land, they have to shuffle that card they just surveilled to the top. Any advantage of taking up Blast Zone proactively? Yeah, I should probably be doing that. Did I forget to do that last turn? I think you're right that I forgot to do that last turn. That is an excellent draw. I'm gonna put a Watery Grave on top of my deck to guarantee that I have something to hit here that I don't already have in play. But obviously, if we hit a utility land like this Field of Ruin, we'll grab that instead. And now, if I hit a land next turn that I don't already have, we have that plus field here, which is great. Wait, why? Sure. Perfect. Now I want the Ceratops to be able to hit them for 5 with haste, I think. And the Ceratops reads, you know, hit smack them for 5. So, now they flip their Azcanta, and I can shuffle this, which is sweet. Shuffle away this God Eternal Kefnet. Or they're just activating it now, sure. This clears the God Eternal too. Verisata, thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Wow, they missed. That's good for us. Which decks we play modern day? We play Jeskai Tempo and Twiddlestorm. They're actually both pretty okay sets. If you like playing against, if you like watching games against Tron, the Jeskai set is good. Welcome back, Malurin. Mod violence. That's a good draw. Good lord. That's much better than what's that called would be here, huh? Yeah, I think Folly is land 30 just makes a lot of sense. I'm just playing this out because they're going to get to kill something at some point. Might as well be this now. So that's such a tilt. That's the only card in their deck that punishes us for that there, right? It's like the only card. Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like if I just like hit an untapped land, I would get to go Risen Reef into Yarok next turn and just like be in a reasonable spot. It's a little frustrating. Yeah, they'd already cast, was it 2 or 1? Yeah, they'd already cast 2 Thought Erasure, so I think my play was right there. It's like frustrating, like getting punished for making the right play, but I'm confident what I did was correct. Why grab Reef over Cavalier? Because I'd rather draw a card than get a land. Because Risen Reef has a chance to draw a spell, and they have Vraska's Contempt, so I'm not going to get the Cavalier dice trigger. Yeah, I agree. Like, this is kind of like the first game, right? Like, our opponents, like, hit good hits, but we're still just ahead, right? Because our deck's just so good in these style of matchups. I think cards like Golgari Finebroker are much worse than Tamiyo. Much worse than Tamiyo. Every time Hafu is in the Magic section, they're just like half the viewers of the Magic section. It's fantastic. I'm so happy Wizards decided to make good decisions with their advertising dollars and pay people like that. It's such a good move. What am I bottoming here? I think it's Field or Arc. In the dark, would I rather have Field or Arc? I think I'd rather have Arc in the dark. Arc in the dark. Arc in the dark. Hey, Trax. Hope you had a good stream this morning. Welcome. I'm gonna bottom this. I'm just kind of looking for another untapped land at this point. I want a 3rd green eventually, but there's a lot of green sources in our deck, so I'm not super worried about that. Huh. Now an interesting question is, I think I Thought Erasure before I Risen Reef here now. I'm not familiar with their background. Keithers, thank you for the 3-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Huh? Man, their hand is good. Like, really good. I think I take Omnath. Now, I think I'm supposed to take Omnath here. Omnath kills my Risen Reef. And I feel like with Yarok, I can probably power through the Nissa. Also, with this Risen Reef in play, the Omnath is going to start drawing them cards pretty soon, which is not ideal for me either. Taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 this turn. If this hits a couple of lands, we could be okay here. If we trigger Field of the Dead here, we should be good. I didn't even need to hit a couple of lands. I just had to hit 1 land, and we missed. 30 lands later. Sure. Nah, I don't think those cards solve any of our problems, Drex. Like, I feel like people keep wanting to add cards to the deck that are just like in matchups where we're already good, instead of like trying to focus on addressing like problems that we actually have. Robbie Blitz, thanks for the brand new Prime Sport. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Like all those cards like try and address like mid-range and control decks, and those aren't my problem matchups. My problem matchups are like things that Unmoored are good against, and like aggro decks can be hard, so you want more removal for them post-board. No, this matchup's very good for our deck, Numza. Our opponent was on the plate and essentially had the best draw possible in their deck. And we missed on hitting 2 triggers there with the Yarok. We're about 35 minutes into this deck, so another hour or so. I've been running a little bit long with this one because I want to get as many repetitions in as possible. This deck's good matchups are mid-range decks that don't go over the top of it. Yeah, my opponent also had Risen Reef and triggered it, what, like 4 times? Yeah, there's the Arena MCQ is this weekend, which is why I've been playing this every single day. So Saturday is the Arena MCQ, and I'll be streaming that on a delay Saturday morning. I think it starts 8 a.m. Cornfield time. Yep, sign me up. And it's pretty good. Bottom field again here, I think. Leading on this means I can't cast Erasure on 2 if I draw it, but I don't really think I need to cast Erasure on 2 in this matchup. Rather just get my tapped land into play, guaranteed. Untapped lands can be kind of a premium in this deck at times. Leaf Kindred's interesting. I like that card actively works to solve problems that we have on occasion, which is a good way to approach deck building most of the time. There is a Jund Dinos variation that's been relatively popular and decently successful this season. Caleb Durward has streamed a good bit of it. Again, the decks that you see played on my stream are, in general, outside of like this deck that I'm playing in a tournament, shouldn't really be taken as being indicative of the power level of different things in the format. Most of the decks that we play here are viewer submitted deck lists, so the decks that we play more of are decks that people who are supporting the stream tend to want to see more of. There's a lot of different decks in this format. I have to kill the Thunderkin rather than the Risen Reef here, because otherwise the Thunderkin just gets the Risen Reef back, which sucks. If we run super hot, this could trigger field this turn, but it's pretty unlikely. Alright. Any other land we don't already have? And not super surprised to see it not happen there. Last game where we got pretty unlucky, we just needed 1 hit. Here we needed 2 in a row. Now, that being said, if we untap with this Yarok, we get to slam this Cavalier and disfigure something, which leaves us in a pretty good spot. You cannot, Zurin.
Be wary of the ground you walk
think we have to chump block here. Or trade. Wow, don't even get to trade. Yeah, their draws were absurd these games. I'm not sure there was a whole lot we could do here. And that's honestly a knock against playing decks like this one, is one of the problems with playing these mid-range and kind of controlling decks is while they feel good to win with a lot of the time and you get to make a lot of choices in your games, you're never going to have a game like or a match like where my opponent just had there, where like their deck was super aggressive. Their draw was super aggressive, and they just got to run me over. And this archetype doesn't get any free wins like that because we don't have any draws that just come out of the gates that quickly. This is probably a mulligan. This doesn't do a whole lot. Yeah, this is pretty reasonable. Bottom the Simic Guildgate and probably go... I guess we bottom the Blast Zone. I'm going to bottom the Blast Zone and keep my triple green guaranteed for this. Do I want a Grazer on one? I probably don't want a Grazer on one here, huh? And again, like... from the purpose of, from a standpoint of like trying to be objective and thinking about like what's happening in our games, like it's very easy to walk away from that match that we just played and be like, oh, the elementals matchup is really bad, when like in reality, my opponent's deck doesn't curve into Nissa like that every single game. And it's very easy to focus on like what happened in 2 games as opposed to thinking about like what's the average case scenario in these games. The Temur Elementals archetype doesn't frequently generate the amount of pressure that they generated in those games, which leads to us being favorable against them in a majority of the games that we're playing. I think I'd rather just take this, right? Like, we can play through this Legion's End, no problem. How much would I have to pay to see Sultai Flash played tomorrow? I'm planning to play 4 standard decks tomorrow at a minimum, and it looks like to get it into the top 4 standard decks after today, it would need a $6 donation. Magic really sucks, you know that? I looked at the donation queue, and I came back and I lost my only spell that mattered. Thanks for the 3 months, Time Walk TV. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, and like there's things like that to consider too, right? Like we were 2 games in a row where like, all right, if this Yarok trigger hits a land, we're in a great spot, and then it didn't hit a land and we were in a bad spot. And like this is another great example of like, you know, wrong half problem, right? Like there are 6 cards in the main deck of this deck that are bad against the opponent's archetype, and we've now drawn 3 of them in this game. And while we're not guaranteed to lose this game, like this game's gonna be much harder than what the average game looks like in this matchup, because we're not gonna draw 3 of our 6 bad cards in the matchup and our top 10 cards in most of our games. Those are the types of things you need to think about, because a lot of these, especially even with the amount I've played this deck on stream, the sample sizes are still small. There's so many decks in this format. To have a reasonable base of like what a matchup looks like from actual experience and not theory crafting, you need to play dozens of matches. I'm holding on to this land because I already have 6 differently named lands here, so if I like draw a Field of the Dead, this could turn into a zombie later. Joke's on you, opponent, I don't have any good spells. I usually respond to deck submissions every evening.
I'll protect you.
Although it looks like there's a couple of modern decks that were real mediocre decks from Thursday that I didn't respond to. But anything that was submitted after yesterday's stream yesterday, I'll get to tonight. All right, Karma's in. Tell me a reason I shouldn't play. Okay, so here's the big hurdle that that'll make you. Here's the hurdle you want to clear to become a better Magic player. Look at the lands that my deck is playing. Look at the lands that my deck is playing. Now think about how many of the lands that this deck is playing do something meaningful. They're not just lands, they're land spells. Now compare how many of the lands in my deck just make mana to how many lands just make mana in the average Magic deck. And when you look at the comparison through that lens, I think the land count makes a lot more sense for a lot of people. Field of the Dead isn't a land, it's a spell. Arc is a spell. The Memorials are spells. Field of Ruin, Blast Zone, these are spells.
I've got time.
One of the things I'll say about playing this deck against Esper is that I would describe the Esper matchup with this deck as emotionally taxing. It's a matchup where you feel like you're losing for a majority of the matchup, when in reality you're actually ahead a lot of the time. It feels bad, but you're still ahead. Just the amount of inevitability that you have is huge. Oh, you know what? I should have Yarok before combat here, huh? Probably. I assume we're gonna see them Legions end these tokens.
I won't let you win.
Alright, well, I mean, if there's a brick on top and they cash this in and don't get something good, we're suddenly very far ahead, right? Like I said, this game's felt bad, and we've drawn a lot of cards that are bad in this matchup, but we're actually in a favorable position at the moment. We're bouncing my Yarok? There's like hoping to draw a Thought Erasure. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for him. They stole our Cavalier with a Command the Dreadhorde. We got like a Kaya's Wrath here. Cry, okay. All right, their turn to draw a card that's not very good in the matchup. Yeah, the new cry animation is really good. Hey, pretty Riki, thank you for the biddies. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Thanks for keeping me around. So, I would love to draw this, but there's an Elvish Rejuvenator trigger on the stack, so we're bottoming anything here that's not a good utility land. Like that one. Like that great utility land. Again, just a great example of the fact that even though there's a 30 in our lands column, we have a bunch of lands that are effectively spells. I don't even know that I would classify it as we were losing so much as it just didn't feel good, right? I wanted another Black Source Dude Light, and I didn't have another land I wanted to cut. Is it crazy to trophy this and just start hitting them? I think that's probably too aggressive. I'm gonna sit on this for now. I guess I'd have them dead next turn if they draw a brick if I trophy this. So they'd have died if I'd have trophied them last turn. I'd have trophy hit them for 6. Are they still dead on board? Oh, I guess they're still... No, they weren't quite dead, right? They were only taking 17 on that combat step. Sideboarding is really clean here. Arboreal Grazers and Disfigures out. Noxious Grasp, Trophy, Shifting Ceratops in. No, so we could Thought Erasure on 2 more often, Dude Light. I don't think we want to ego their ego. I think I'd rather just Ceratops. We can erasure their egos, or we can mulligan for hands where we get to play Field of Rune out, Field of the Dead out proactively, so we have them in play when the ego is. Surgical, they're surgical, yo dog. Yeah, I agree, Peel. Which is why when people try and complain about vampires, I like to call them out on it. Because I actually think vampires and decks like vampires are some of the best, healthiest decks for Magic to have. They offer many axes of interaction. That sounds great. Turn 1, turn 2, dupe. Even if they erasure or duress us, we get to erasure or duress them on 2. Yeah, Black Folly was the 30th one. Can someone do me a flavor, a mod, and add a link to my organized play reaction to that command? If you love me. Well, I guess we're taking this one. One of these things is not like the others. Yeah, the Memorial to Folly's been good. I think I'm happy with it as the 30th land. I don't think I'm supposed to kill this. Well, we have both. We have both, Furky. So, like, we're not just playing that card, right? We're, like, also playing other things. No, it is on my YouTube, Darthy, but it'd be good to have in the command, too, because you're going to be far from the only person to come in and ask that today. Playing the Yarok out here sucks in the face of Kaya's Wrath a little bit. But this is, like, also a 2-turn clock, so it's like, sure.
I am not going to sit this one out. This might be a bad idea.
I think I'm just hitting them here. We were 777 earlier today. We're 888 now. Thank you, Azentoth. I appreciate you. Oh, you need an exclamation point, OP. You were close. I got you. Oh, or maybe not. Perfect, you got it. How do you get into it? You need to load up your Discord on your desktop client, Brian, and go to account connections, and you should see the server there. Oh, opponent, do. I think black, white, green is probably I would be surprised if there was a competitive Abzan deck in this format. Yeah, Nemesis, to give context, my reaction video going through it was 30 minutes. There's a lot of information, and honestly, I'm not really sure you can give a TLDR without the important detail. I guess the TLDR is we added a minor league called the Rivals League, and we split up and defined paper and digital more clearly. That would be the TLDR, but like there's a lot of details that go into that. Thanks for keeping me entertained at work for the past 2 months. Hoaglandia has annexed my third monitor, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. Thanks for the 2 months of support, Mr. Bips. I appreciate you keeping me around. Happy Thursday. Maybe I'm supposed to lead on Temple of Mystery here, just to like try and scry into a 2-drop. The actual too long didn't read is probably WotC made a bunch of decisions and none of them made me feel angry. It just, and I was confused because I'm used to them making a bunch of decisions and then feeling angry afterwards, chat. I didn't know what to do with my hands. I was like, oh no. This is what good leadership and reasonable decision making looks like? Send help. Alright, rematch against Teamer. Let's see if we get run down again. We're gonna hold off on taking another Field of the Dead here because, obviously we already have one in hand, and one in play and a second in our hand. Yeah, it's wild, aimbot. So I wouldn't tear them a new one. Maybe. We were due for some good decisions. To be fair, a lot of the issues we've had with Wizards recently isn't even bad decisions, so much as it was just a lack of information, right? So like, I don't know that they've made a bunch of choices recently that I really disagree with, so much as it's just been like radio silence, right? I guess they made choices surrounding Historic that I wasn't super happy with. But that's different than organized play, right? Again, I already have a field that I'm trying to get these triggered as opposed to not. So we're going to grab the memorial there. So, Panza, I think a big part of the reason why we don't see smaller tournaments on Arena currently is because they don't have the infrastructure to run them. Like, this isn't like Magic Online where they have a tournament client built into it, right? I'd expect once we get a tournament client built into Arena, we'll start seeing, like, weekly challenge events like Magic Online does. Or at least I really hope so. Hey, Kane Man, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, I probably missed a point of damage. I believe you. I guess they could theoretically run async events now too. They could do something like every weekend there's $15 or $20 entry fee queue, and you play till like eight wins or 3 losses or something, or X amount of wins and some number of losses, and after that happens, you qualify for the MCQ or some other smaller tournament. And a couple of subs there I wanted to acknowledge. Kane Man, thank you for the very generous tier 1 resub. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Himu, thanks for shipping your Prime this way this month. There's a lot of great people you can send those Bezo bucks to. Thanks for shipping them my way. And again, I think a lot of those things like that I just talked about being nice is more of they don't have the bandwidth to create these things yet, more so than they think these things are bad and don't want to do them. That's sad. I really liked my board. Goodbye, friends. And then these are going to hit me for 6 here. I guess I just pick Rejuvenator back up here with the Memorial. The problem is going to be, do I die to Chandra emblems before that happens? I think this deck is a very good Bandscape Shift matchup. I think you're good against Bandscape Shift, and you're fine against Vampires, which are the big draws to playing this archetype. Your Vampires matchup is harder than your Scape Shift matchup, but not to the point that you like are sad when you see it. So, I don't think they need to turn Magic Arena into effectively online gambling like Magic Online is. I think that's kind of a silly argument. The types of people that are using Magic Online as a form of online gambling are things that Wizards lawyers almost certainly don't want to have happening with their program. Why is 1 life better than a Scribe? Because my opponent's about to start putting Chandra emblems on me, and I'm trying not to die. I mean, don't get me wrong, gambling is fun. I love gambling. And if you're someone who loves gambling, you should definitely check out my sponsor, Woe Duels, the online peer-to-peer wagering network where you can play arena games for cash with other people online. But anywho, I think that mindset and type of thing that you can do on Magic Online is not something that Wizards wants to have be a thing. I did see that. More importantly, they added roll queue too, Turkin. I actually played a couple of comp matches the other day, or placement matches or whatever. I don't know how I feel about the new character, but I like playing Reinhardt. Hey, Klesman, thanks for the brand new Prime Sport. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, maybe these Planeswalker-focused builds of Elementals are hard. I don't know. Like I said, all these sample sizes are small. So it's hard to really know, like, up, down, left, right. So I can make 2 more zombies here by Field of Ruining them, and then, like, have enough zombies to kill Chandra. The problem from there is that, like, how do I not die to the Nissa? Seems like they aren't offering anything to people who have all the cards and cosmetics. I mean, I don't even have all the cards and cosmetics, so The opponent is playing a Temur Elementals deck. Plays cards like Omnath and powerful planeswalkers like Chandra and Nissa. Grazer's actually not a terrible draw here, because with these 2 lands in my hand, this means I can put 4 zombies into play this turn. So, we'll kill Chandra here. We'll make 4 zombies plus play an O3. And then we'll get to crack Memorial and maybe get back in this. The key here is going to be trying to race against this emblem, though. You want to be able to recycle your bulk? Nope, that'll never happen. And honestly, I prefer the arena system is more kind to whales, which is something that I think they want it to be. Like encouraging people to be whales on your platform is probably a smart business decision. Or like making your system better for whales than it is for non. If they don't have another Chandra, we should be in a pretty good spot. If they have another Chandra, we're going to be in trouble. I guess they could have some of these decks play Flame Sweep too. We're probably dead to a Flame Sweep. Yeah, I agree, Riki. The ability, and the other thing, and the thing that I say that makes arena system more friendly to whales or people who are putting more in is that your nth +1 deck in arena is always cheaper than your nth deck was, because you just incidentally have cards for the next deck you want to build be the way you're opening packs to get wild cards for your first deck. So like, once you build your first deck, you're going to incidentally have cards for a variety of other decks. And then like, once you build that second deck, you incidentally have more copies of cards for other things past that. So on and so forth. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blockers. I have 10 attackers, so I'm currently hitting them for 8, which is not enough. Next turn, we'll drop Cavalier. Maybe we'll draw a spell. Even if we draw a land for the turn, it does a couple of these. If we're really lucky, we'll draw Yarok for the turn and then put them deep in the ground. Another Risen Reef would also be a decent draw. Yeah, exactly, Dannon. So, I'm going to Erasure here. And if the card on top is what I want to draw, we'll stack the Risen Reef trigger first. Curious, if there's some interesting card you would like to see reprinted in Standard that is pretty off the wall. Nah, the power level of cards and like what they do is very context specific. So like looking at one type of card and just like not knowing what the rest of the format looks like, it's hard to say what I really want or don't want. All right, so do I want to Erasure here? Or do I want to just activate my Arc? I think I want to just activate my Arc. I've not played a land for the turn. I mean, they don't have to be protecting something. They could just be, they could just like have negate and I haven't given them much to negate. So do I want to throw away 4 zombies to kill Nissa? I think I do. Because even if they block all 6 of these with all 6 of their creatures, Nissa still takes 8. And like cashing my zombies in insulates me against like a top deck Chandra a little bit, which is nice because it makes their board worse. Although top deck Chandra is probably still game. I don't think Counterspell is a particularly interesting card. I think actual factual Counterspell tends to be a bad design for the same reason that unconditional 4-mana sweepers tend to be bad designs. Conditional cards tend to allow for more play and counterplay and more interesting deck building decisions. Yeah, something like Wizard's Retort's a great example. Really surprised Black with Paradise Druid here. Conditional / unconditional. So a good example of a conditional sweeper is something like, say, Ritual of Soot. It's a card that only sweeps a specific subset of cards, or like Cry of the Canarium or Deafening Clarion. These are cards that are sweeper effects. They kill a bunch of stuff, but you can build your deck in a certain way to minimize their impact, or play cards out from your hand in a particular way to minimize their impact. So effects like that allow players to make decisions to play around them both during deck building and during gameplay generate more dynamic, interesting games. I disagree with that, Marty. I think in a format where we don't have checks and shock lands, you could maybe argue its casting cost is a real restriction, but in the reality in which we live, it's not a real restriction. If your decks are casting Absorb and Kaya's Wrath on curve consistently, it's not a restriction. All right, 10 more turns. Aha, 11 more turns. Take me down to Paradise City where the grass is green and the druids are pretty. Whoa, baby, whoa, doo doo doo. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, geez, I forgot there were Risen Reef triggers coming in too. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Arc is so impressive that I can consider it tempted to include the second one. Yeah, there's just not room. I don't think a second Arc is better than a spell. Think of the Blue Memorial as your second Arc in most situations. All right, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna throw away 5 zombies to deal 10 to them here, and I think that's a good exchange for me. Is like, I have enough zombies to deal lethal anyway, so I want to just deal as much damage as possible on this attack here, so that way if they draw Chandra, my zombies at least did something. So we just need 1 big fat brick out of them. And I feel like this game was more representative of like what this matchup feels like. Like, my opponent had Chandra and Nissa, and we still just played through them. They need to have those cards and have a very aggressive start, like the last Temur Elementals player we played against did. Am I dead yet? Did you draw a Flame Sweep or a Chandra? Those are your options. Flame Sweep, Chandra, Concede. I guess Mass Manipulation. What does Mass Manipulation do for them here? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they could take 3 things. They take 3 things, they die. Do I die if they take 3 things? No, because I have plenty of blockers. Yeah, the more aggressive builds of elementals are better in my experience. But again, it wasn't just the creeping trailblazers, they like also curved them into the symbols of the games. The Hail Mary draw card, trying to find a sweeper. I'd probably rather Cast Down than Disfigure, because Cast Down kills Nissa lands and it kills their Cavaliers, right? That seems reasonable. Yeah. Yeah. Sunco, thank you for doling out some sub-gifties. Welcome to our newest members of Hoaglandia. Thanks for dropping in today, everyone. Be sure to let me know if there's something in the deck queue you'd like to bump up for that support, Sunco, or add something new. As always, the people that support my content dictate what we do and when we do it. It's only fair. Party Marty G coming in hot with that brand new Prime support. Thanks for shipping your Bezo bucks this way this month and keeping me employed. What matchups do you keep the Grazers in? Any of the matchups where they block meaningfully. The aggressive matchups, mono red, vampires, blue tempo, stuff like that. Yeah, blue-white flyers would be a good example too. If I'd have had more time to test for the MCQ this weekend, the Blue-White Skies deck is probably another deck I would have entertained playing. I really like the all-in Safara build of Blue-White Skies that we played last time. Felt very powerful and consistent. Yeah, mono red's not super popular anymore though, and if you get Safara down, you get to ignore Chain Whirler. Safara is really good against mono red. Just like turn 3, play your 7/7 lifelinker. Good luck, Godspeed. Play vampires. Yeah, definitely. You always just pick out my favorite. Or do you have a specific list you'd be interested in seeing? If you have a specific list, feel free to DM me. Otherwise, I can just look over some lists and pick out my favorite one. Fantastic. Will do. And I believe 25 will put the deck into tomorrow, so we should be playing some vampires tomorrow. Sure. I think 2 basics in the opener kind of sucks, but it's not like our opponent's like Assassin's Trophy or Field of Ruining us, so it's not too big of a deal in this matchup specifically. Billy Zane Jr. cashing in that Prime for the 10th month. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So I found the deck without either Grazer or Growth Spiral has to wait so many turns to start going off. Casting Yarok into an empty board on turn 4 feels pretty important. I know it's powerful, you get to untap with it, yet you so often don't. Well, I mean, a lot of the times you can wait to cast Yarok until you're doing something with it the turn you cast it. And there's a lot of matchups. I agree with you that your hands without Grazer or Spiral don't do anything a lot of the time, but like in the matchups where it's important that you have things to do early, we board in a bunch more cheap removal, like extra Disfigures and Cast Downs and Legion's End. And the matchups where you don't want those removal spells, it frequently doesn't matter if you're not doing anything till turn 3. I don't do 24-hour streams. I'm an adult who has a small amount of respect for his body and elects not to abuse it with decisions like that. Wow, that's unfortunate. That was supposed to get us a black source, chat. Yikes. Ice, ice, baby. Do. I'll donate when they announce Spell Center reprint and standard so we can play it at sorcery speed against Teferi. Oh, it's funny because it's sad. Oh. Oh, stand up. My legs cramped when I stood up to get my snack. That means we've been sitting for too long. Wow, this is game 2, and my opponents used 18 minutes off their clock already. They've been playing so slowly. Quick note there about something I did while I was stuffing my face. I declined putting this into play off Risen Reef, so I could draw it and play it untapped for the turn, so I can cast a 2-mana black spell this turn. Thanks for making my life a little less garbage time. Thanks for keeping me around, Freshly. Thanks for the 3 months. Welcome back. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say this Yarok's not currently doing anything, so we're gonna clear the way here. I just assumed if they mass manipulation one reef, they must have had another one, right? Was killing my reef better so it goes to my graveyard? Yes, that is a good suggestion. Thank you for pointing it out. Yes, if I field for a swamp, I can cast this down. If they cast an elemental, I'll probably do that. Yeah, I should probably do it regardless. Makes my Yarok a little bit worse, but... Weird that they played their land first. Because if they would have waited to play their land, they would have gotten a draw off of this. So the reason why I didn't just Yarok there is because their Omnath is going to start drawing cards from land drops, and their hand is so bad right now that I just want to do my best to cut them off of drawing more cards to draw out of how bad their hand is. They actually don't have 20 minutes to play. They have 30 minutes to play for some stupid reason. The timers on Arena are way too long, just like Magic Online. And you know how you can tell that the timers on Arena are way too long? Because in Paper Magic, you get 50 minutes to shuffle, mulligan, and sideboard. On Arena, your time clock is more than that, and you don't have to shuffle, and your sideboarding doesn't eat into the rest of your time. It is very, very silly, in my opinion, the amount of time they give you on Arena.
The past is never forgotten.
In my opinion, the competitive event should have 20-minute match timers.
Seek shelter in my stewardship.
They drew Nissa and they picked Mass Manipulation back up here. Yeah, we were pretty far ahead here, but this series of draws could put them over the top. The good news is, if they manage to win this game, there's a good chance that they time out in the last game. So, I'm definitely going to be making them put me to 0. So if I do this, the Nissa dies, which cuts them off of a bunch of mana, right? They go block, block. She takes 4/6. I think it's important to kill the Nissa here.
Fades.
That's actually the smart thing to do, what Paulad said there. The game devs should know a statistical representation of what the average match time is in best of 3, and they should take like whatever the average time is and add 25% to it. So figure out the average and then add some amount to it. That's so annoying.
Always wanted to make a really big fireball.
Well, shoot. It's a good thing I get to get a bunch of Risen Reef triggers next turn, huh? This is the first time we've had an opponent time out on us on Arena. Yeah, I think so. If they time out, they could theoretically win this game and the next one in 5 minutes, right? If they pay attention and start playing quickly. Yeah, Nissa lands are elementals. Nissa Chandra is a good 1-2 punch. They named Fry. Okay. Yes, that's true too. They're also not a lock to win this game. So I could play this before attacking because I am going to get less Yarok triggers now, but I don't want them to know that I'm going to make a bunch of zombies before choosing whether or not they want to keep their Chandra around, basically. So I want them to make the decisions regarding their Chandra with less information, if that makes sense. If I Cavalier, I'm more likely to make a bunch of zombies this turn. I think I'm gonna do this. Could go either way. Well, that worked out. That worked out. All right, another land on top, please. All right, so now my opponent can cash in their Chandra to clear the zombies, and then they can mass manipulation and take 2 to 3 things. If they have an untapped land here, they can take all my elementals. So they can clean my board out here if they want. Yep. So they can kill my zombies and take my board. But then I get to play Cavalier of Thorns next turn and start activating Arc. And again, like, they're probably just gonna time out while they flail around doing this. Yeah, so like, and again, like, they're down a game and they lose as soon as their timer hits 0. So even if they manage to scrape this one out and we don't get out of it, like, they have to win the next game in less than 4 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, they're 4 minutes and 15 seconds here. You can see it when the chat's not moving too quickly. Was thinking about playing one more with this deck after this, but this one's taken long enough that that's going to be off the table. For comparison, I have 19 minutes and 26 seconds on my clock. Just for comparison's sake. If this hits an untapped green source, I get to play a second Cavalier here. Just gonna grab Blast Zone. I've not played a land for the turn, so I'm gonna activate Arc and try and draw a land. I'm also going to leave black-green up while I do this, so that way, if I draw a trophy, I can cast it, or a Noxious Grasp. All right, we've got some Cavaliers. He's up against opponent at 500 plus life. He won due to infinite Nexus loop, but he timed out the next game. Yeah, a situation like that is pretty understandable, right? Like that I can understand, where like you're having to mechanically click through a lot, but that's like a super corner case. And the actual funny part about all this is, like, even though my opponents, like, messed up my board a bunch and keeps drawing Chandras and, like, mass manipulations, my deck's getting thin to the point where we might just loop Nexus and kill them anyways. And again, even if we don't get out of that, we're pretty much guaranteed the match win to ladder up a little bit more. Now, this Tamiyo can downtick and pick mass manipulation back up out of their bin here. Omnath, interesting. Oh, I guess they get double Omnath triggers, huh? Weapons of Mass Scheming. Thank you for the Prime support. I appreciate the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. We going for my face, or are we going to kill my Cavalier of Thorns? I'm going to give Cavalier of Thorns the old double Cheeto fingers. We really need to get Omnath some Cheeto tongs, so he's a little bit less aggressive. All right, I think we're just putting the old Yarok on top. Guys, we're missing 6 green, but we can Yarok and Cavalier on the same turn. Yarok doubles Omnath's land trigger too. Gosh, that's good. Part of me wishes we could play this match out in a third game after we lose this one, but another part of me is glad we don't have to wait for them to, like, take all these time again. Maybe they're not aware that their clock is a thing, and that's why they're playing it out. They must be, yeah, they must actually be aware of the clock, though, because they neglected to use Chandra there, so they must be stressing out about their low time. The opponent is playing a mid-range version of Elementals, like Mass Manipulation and Chandra and Nissa. Oh, did they time out? They ran out their what's it called? Their timeout thing went all the way down? Maybe they're having connection issues. That's probably the reasonable explanation, right? They're probably playing on an unstable connection. Lucas the Dragon, thank you for the 12 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield.
Witness the ties that bind us all.
They're playing timeout elementals.
I think you will find
And a mass manipulation here and try and take my stuff. Another Omnath, yep. Sure. Get a little handsy with your Cheeto fingers. Yeah, that's true, Ty Glorious. I don't know. Maybe that's not necessarily true. Like, our deck's especially grindy. Like, our deck plays naturally long games. So if they're not playing against people who aren't playing naturally long games. Can I get a timeout in honor of this guy timing out? Glandy is the best. Y'all are great. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ripscree, do 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 do. And we weren't guaranteed to lose that game. Like, if they killed our Cavalier, we could put Tamiyo on top. We got a Mastery Orb. I like foils. I don't think I have any good foils coming up, though, right? Yeah, I need 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to Omnath still. We'll grab Dracu's Death, I guess. We'll play him at some point. Alright. Esper, Yarok Field. Sorry, before we slide on to Esper. Yeah, I think, I don't think I have any changes to make after yesterday. I think I've been happy with Memorial as the 30th land in this 75. I think the Thought Erasures have been pretty reasonable as well. And the rest of the mix is just like the cards we've been playing for a while, so I think this seems more than fine. We did not play against any Nexus today. Nexus has not been super popular, but just in case